All right, folks, this is Coach Q, Nikki. How you doing, buddy boy? We got some live action here. It's been a while. As you can see, this is my playoffs. My playoff show that I'm going to be streaming here. It's been a while since I've been on Twitch or anything, but we are going to go through this and show you what the bracket is and where the teams are and how they're fared during their conference championship games and which bowl games they're going to be at. And then we also going to go over their show a little bit of what their schedules turned out to be and how they got to where they were, and we'll go from there. All righty. All right, first up, we've got the AAC championship game. It was against take that back. It was number 11. Well, they finished 11th, but Navy versus North Texas. At the time, Navy was 11 when this game was played, and North Texas was number 18. As you can see, it was a close first half. 24-17 was the score with Navy leading. And then it came down to the fourth quarter. Navy outscored North Texas 28-7 to win the game, 52-24 to win the AAC title. And as you can see, Navy stays in the playoffs at number 11, and they take on number 6 Michigan in the first round of the playoffs. And North Texas moves on. They drop down to number 24, and they take on Northwestern Wildcats in the Texas Bowl. Next up, we have the ACC championship game between Florida State, who was unranked, and number 2 Pitt. As you can see, it was somewhat close at halftime, 24-10. Pitt had the lead. 3-3 going. They both scored a field goal going into third quarter, but Florida State did come back in the fourth quarter, as you can see down below. They scored 14 points there in the fourth quarter, and if it wasn't for Pitt winning with a last-second field goal to get the ACC championship game, as you can see, 7 seconds left in the game, Pitt kicks a 32-yard field goal to win the game. And from there, Pitt will get a first-round bye in the playoffs since they're ranked number 2. And then the Florida State stays unranked, and they take on number 13 Georgia in the Peach Bowl. Next, we have the Big Ten championship game between the Huskers, my team, and the Michigan State Spartans. At the time, Nebraska was ranked 8 and Michigan was ranked 9. As you can see, it was a close game at halftime again, 14-10. Both teams came out third quarter, scoring a field goal apiece, but Nebraska, we outscored them 21-10 in the fourth quarter to take a commanding lead and win the game pretty handily, 38-23. And with that, we move up to number 4 in the rankings, and we get a first-round bye. And Michigan State drops out of the playoff contention and drop down to 14th. And they take on number 21 Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And next, we have the Big 12 championship game. At the time, it was number 16 versus number 16 BYU versus number 10 Houston. Again, another close game at halftime, 21-14. Houston was up, then Houston just ran away with it second half. And they outscored them, 31-7 the second half to take the Big 12 championship game, 52-21. Houston moves up to state at number 9, and BYU dropped to number 19, dropped them out of the playoff picture. So Houston takes on number 8 Army, and BYU, like I said, dropped down to number 19. They take on unranked UCLA in the Alamo Bowl. Next up, we have the MAC championship game. We have unranked Northern Illinois Huskies or NIU, and the number 17th ranked Miami University. Again, we got a close one. The unranked team of NIU was ahead 14-0 at half, or 14-7 at halftime, and then Miami came on and turned the burners on second half and outscored them 35-3 the second half to take the MAC title 42-17. So Miami stays at number 15, or Miami moved up to number 15, and they take on Southern Miss in the Lending Tree Bowl. And NIU goes on to the Quick Lane Bowl to take on Tulane. Next up, we have the Mountain West Conference Championship game. We have both teams were unranked, as you can see. They finished unranked. It was 17-14 San Diego State at halftime, close game. And then San Diego State held on to win the game 33-28. Wyoming made it a game towards the end there, but just wasn't enough to come back and get the W. So San Diego State wins the Mountain West Conference 33-28. They go on to play Colorado in the Las Vegas Bowl. Wyoming goes on to the Arizona Bowl to take on the Oregon Ducks. Next up, we have the Pac-12. Or what it was the Pac-12. Both teams are unranked. We have Washington versus UCLA. We have a nail biter there at halftime, 10-7. UCLA was up, but then they came out second half and outscored Washington 24-7 to take the commanding lead and championship of the Pac-12, 34-14. Both teams stay unranked. UCLA goes on to the Alamo Bowl to take on number 19 BYU. Washington goes on to the Sun Bowl to take on Wake Forest. Next up, we have the Sun Belt Championship game between, let's see here, number 4 Southern Alabama versus number 13 Army. As you can see, it was close again at halftime. We have a 14-7 lead. And then it was nail-biter all the way through, with Army outscoring Southern Alabama, what looks like here, 19-6 the second half to take the Sun Belt Championship game 26-20. That moved Army up a few spots from 13, which they were just outside the playoff contention there, to number 8, and dropped Southern Alabama to number 10. So Army takes on University of Houston in the first round of playoffs, and then Southern Alabama, who's number 10, takes on number 7 Oklahoma in the first round of the playoffs. And finally, we have the SEC Championship game, where Bama was ranked 14, South Carolina was ranked 12. Bama wins, they get into playoffs. But, as you can see, it did not happen. South Carolina had a 13-0 lead at halftime, and Bama made it a game at the end, all the way through the second half. And then South Carolina, as you can see, got a last second field goal with 40 seconds left in the game, 41 yards out, to take the lead and hold on to the SEC Championship game to hold their spot at number 12 in the playoffs to stay alive. And that dropped Bama down to 21. And so South Carolina will take on number 5 Texas A&M in the first round of the playoffs, and Alabama will take on number 14 Michigan State in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Here are the final rankings after the conference championship games. As you can see, Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, and Nebraska were the top 4, with Nebraska moving up to number 4 after their conference championship win over Michigan State. So they got first round byes, and the way I did the playoffs are 1 through 12. That was all it was. And as you can see, Texas A&M finished at number 5, Michigan number 6, Oklahoma 7. Army moved up from 13 to 8. Houston moved up 1 spot from 10 to 9. South Alabama dropped after losing to Army in their championship game from 4 to 10. Navy stayed even right there with their win over North Texas, and South Carolina stayed at 12 to finish out the playoff picks for the playoffs this season with their win over Alabama. As you see, Georgia did not make a championship game. Michigan State dropped down to number 9. Miami University moved up 2 with their win over Northern Illinois. It wasn't enough to get them in the playoffs. Ohio State, LSU, FIU stayed in their spots. BYU dropped after losing their championship game to Houston. Tulsa moved up 3 spots, which because Alabama lost their game in the championship game. Toledo moved up 2. Iowa jumped in. Not sure how, but they did. And then North Texas dropped to 24, and Miami, University of Miami, stayed at 25. And if you missed it and you weren't sure where everybody was at in the playoffs, here's the playoff bracket. Number 12, again, is the SEC championship team, South Carolina. Number 11, Navy. Number 10, University Southern Alabama. Number 9, Houston. Number 8, Army. Number 7, Oklahoma. Number 6, Michigan. Number 5, Texas A&M. Those are all the first round matchups, in which I will be streaming those games I won't be playing them, but I will be streaming them as a watcher. So be on alert for that. Number 4, Nebraska will play the winner of the Texas A&M South Carolina game in the Cotton Bowl. Number 3, Notre Dame. Actually, Nebraska will play in the Orange Bowl. And then number 3 is Notre Dame will play the winner of Michigan Navy in the Cotton Bowl. And number 2, Pitt will play the winner of Oklahoma and Southern Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. And number 1 was Wisconsin. They will play the winner of Army and Houston in the Peach Bowl. The West bracket will take their championship game to the Rose Bowl, and the East bracket will take their the right side of the bracket will take their championship game to the Cotton Bowl, or the Sugar Bowl, I mean. And there is the 2039 playoff bracket. And here's a little bit of overview of each team that made the playoffs. We have Wisconsin, who is number 1. They finished the season 11-1, 8-1 in conference. Their only loss was to Nebraska, and that was why Nebraska got in the Big Ten championship game. Number 2, Pitt. Again, they made it. Their losses were 2 at Virginia and at Boston College, but they were held on enough to get to the conference championship game to beat Florida State 30-27. Number 3, Notre Dame. They finished season 11-1. Their only loss was to Louisville. And you got number 4, Nebraska. They were 12-1, 9-1 in conference. Their only loss came second weekend from the second to last game of the weekend to Minnesota, 49-42. It was a back and forth matchup. And they beat Michigan State in the championship game, 38-23. Next up, number 5, Texas A&M. They were 9-3, 6-3 in conference. Their losses were early to Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU in the mid-season there, number 17 LSU. They did not make the conference championship game. Then Michigan follows up at number 6. At 9-3 overall, 7-2 in conference. Their only losses were early on to Wisconsin and to Middle Tennessee State, and then to Michigan State. Number 7, Oklahoma. They were 9-3 overall, 6-3 in conference. Their losses came to Texas, an overtime loss to Auburn, and an overtime loss to Texas A&M. Ooh, what a way to go. And they came up short of making the conference championship game. Number 8, Army. They are 12-1 overall and 9-0 in conference. Their only loss was the first game of the season to Middle Tennessee State. Must have been trying to figure out who the quarterback was. And they get the win in the conference championship game against Southern Alabama, 26-20. University of Houston is number 9. They were 11-2 overall, 9-1 in conference. Their only losses were to K-State and to Oklahoma State in Week 14, but held it on enough to get to the championship game to beat Baylor 52-21. The last 3 teams in the playoff here are Southern Alabama. They were 11-2 overall, 7-2 in conference. They finished at number 10. Their losses were late in the season, which was to Southern Miss in Week 12, and in the conference championship game to Army, 26-20. Number 11, Navy. They finished the season 10-3, 8-1 in conference, and their losses were to Rice in Week 7, Notre Dame Week 10, and Army in Week 15, but they did pull out the win over North Texas in the conference championship game, 52-24. And finally, rounding out the top 12 teams is South Carolina. They finished 11-2, 8-2 in conference. Their only losses were to Texas A&M in Week 4 and Texas at Week 13. And they held on to beat Alabama in the conference championship game to keep them out of the playoffs, 30-28, with a last-second field goal with about 40 seconds left in the game. And there you go, folks. That is the playoffs for the 2039 season for my offline dynasty that I've been playing for quite a few years. Stay tuned for the first-round playoff games. They'll be coming up at some point. And you'll also be able to catch, if you missed them live, you'll be able to catch the show here on my YouTube channel, CQ Games, and then also you'll be able to catch the games as well. Once I get them, if you missed them live too, you'll be able to catch them on my YouTube channel as well, CQ Games. All right, that's all I have for tonight, folks. Thanks for catching us, and we'll check you later.